Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure vehicle review. Today, we're going to look at McFarlane's DC Direct Batman the Animated Series Batmobile. Now, I believe this is a straight re-release from the DC Direct Batmobile from many years ago, which is a very sought-after piece by fans and collectors, so it only makes sense. This is a Target exclusive. I pre-ordered this on the Target app, and it finally arrived today. The boxes they shipped it in were giant, with the Batmobile box inside of that, and absolutely no packing materials, so there were some dings on the boxes. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be GameStop or Walmart, this particular Gold Label is a Target exclusive. Batman the Animated Series, the Batmobile. It has light-up features, and the box is enormous. It just goes for miles. Here's the front of the box. Here is the top of the box. It could be displayed like this as well. You can see it has a sliding canopy, and it is an actual two-seater, although it's for 6-inch figures, not the 7-inch multiverse. At the back of the package, you can see the Batmobile from Batman the Animated Series. Looks like the console lights up, the exhaust and engine light up, and even the headlights. At the bottom, there is the barcode, if that helps anybody. So with no further ado, let's open it up. And of course, I did get 2 of these Batmobiles, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. So the packaging for this Batmobile is absolutely enormous. The packaging for the Jokermobile was giant, but look at the Batmobile, so much wider. Here's the packaging of the new McFarlane release of the DC Direct Batmobile, next to the original packaging on the top. Yes, I still have this sealed from way back in the day. Then, next to the DC Direct Deluxe version of Batmobile, this is the chrome version that came with Batman, Robin, and the Bat Signal. Here it is in the package, next to the new McFarlane version. Alright, now that this vehicle out of the package, here it is with all the accessories laid out. It doesn't come with traditional accessories, simply a collector's card. And let's take a look at that to get that out of the way. So as you can see, it's the Batmobile from Batman the Animated Series. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. So this is that sleek Batmobile from the Bruce Timm universe of Batman the Animated Series, seasons 1 through 3. I love the design. I love Batman the Animated Series. I'd say it's my favorite incarnation of Batman. Well, beyond the comics. And this Batmobile just looks so cool. It's so long. It's so sleek. It has the fins. The animated series was sort of based off the looks from the Tim Burton movies, and I can see a couple hints from that car, like the fins in the back, but it did its own thing. Super long and super cool. Now this is McFarlane's sort of re-release of the DC Direct one, and to my surprise, it's a little bit different colored. It has sort of a navy blue, dark blue color scheme going on, where the other ones were predominantly black. I am super happy about that as a collector since the beginning of Batman the Animated Series DC Direct line. If you're getting the Batmobile again, it's nice to have at least some subtle differences, and I'm happy it's not cel shading. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Batmobile. We'll check out the action features, measurements, compare it with a bunch of other Batman Batmobiles, and we'll see which Batman figures from different companies fit inside. So let's start off by taking a look. As you can see, here's sort of the front of the engine, got some sort of vents to exhaust. 2 headlights here that are actually going to function. Very long, exaggerated front, and I love it. It's just signature to the animated series. Some piece of the engine. It's very sort of bland, and I mean in some ways it's a little bit disappointing because it definitely had a little bit of detailing on here, but it's just so damn good and so big. So it's got wheels that are made of rubber, plastic on the inside. They actually spin. The 2 wheels spin independently of one another, and they rotate so you can actually turn it. And then when you go to the back wheels, they also spin independently. Actually, these 2 spin together, and they don't rotate. On the back here, you can see the exhaust, and it all lights up. And then we have the canopy. Now, they did an excellent job with this thing. The canopy itself slides forward just like the show, and slides back. And my word, it is a 2-seater, thank God. Unfortunately, it's for a 6-inch scale figures, so your DC Multiverse probably won't fit inside, but it's really cool to have this two-seater and a lot of detail on the inside. And a closer look at the Batmobile. I mentioned it's kind of bland and lack of detail is very smooth. And I just popped on an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and it looked just like that in the show. I guess I was remembering wrong. So it's fairly accurate to it. Back fin, the wheel, nice sleek lines, little indentation there. Of course, the front of it. I mean, the surface is all very smooth, and it is very bland, but it's fairly accurate to the show. Not a lot of texturing. At the bottom of the car, it looks about like this. It does take 3 AAA batteries, which of course are not included. Luckily, I was able to find 3 that are not in use here. Now let's check out the measurements of this thing to see if you have the space to accommodate it. And it is a very large vehicle. From front to back, as far as how long it is, about 25 inches long. As far as how tall it is, about 5.5, 6 inches tall. And as far as how wide it is, about 9 inches wide. And now to check out the action features. So, as I showed earlier, the wheels, they actually spin, and the front ones not only spin, but rotate, allowing the car to turn. We also have the canopy, slides forward and back. Here's a look at the inside of the cockpit. It has quite a bit of detail. We have the steering wheel here, which actually turns. All these different panels on here, and when you use light-up features, the thing is super bright inside of there. Very well done. Like I said before, it's an actual legitimate two-seater, and that is awesome. I guess it took McFarlane re-releasing some other company's vehicle to finally get a two-seater. You have sort of gear shifts and all kind of different stuff down there. Looking great. Now it has actual functioning seatbelts. They come out with stretchy material, and they're actually going to clip in to the buckle. You can see sort of the back of the seats there. Now it's interesting, these seatbelts only go across the waist from one side to the other, a little bit different than the previous release of the Batmobile. In the older version of the Batmobile, the seatbelt comes from the corner and it goes over their shoulder as well as the waist. Just a minor difference I wanted to point out. Also, you can see the interior is a lot more detailed. It actually has paint job on the panels here. The McFarlane one is a little bit more bland. So, what other action features does it have? Well, we have the light-up features, and then it can actually hold figures in the cockpit. We're going to get to showing the figures a little bit later because I want to go through a bunch of different Batman figures because I'm personally curious what other companies can fit this thing. I really doubt McFarlane DC Multiverse will, but I bet Mafex and Figuarts and maybe even Mezco will. For now, let's look at the light-up features, which are quite impressive. So, first of all, the bottom of the car, there's a little switch here. Bam, the lights are on. So, for starters, we have lights on the back. You have all these different sort of exhaust lights, the giant flame in the middle. Really, really well done. I remember this very specifically from the animated series. Then we have inside the canopy, it lights up. It is extremely bright. Blue light here. Looks a little bit white on camera, but you can see blue reflecting the back of the seats. And then at the front, the headlights. Really, really cool action feature. You can see how bright the back is against the Batcave here. Here's the car with lights on in a fully lit room. And here's the car with the lights on in a semi-lit room. And here it is in a completely dark room. So as you can see, the front headlights lit up. Then we have the canopy here. And when you open it up, like I said, it is very bright. And the back lights, which look phenomenal as well. Very nicely done. Now to check out the differences between the original release of the Batman the Animated Series Batmobile and this new McFarlane release. And the main difference, to my pleasure, is that this one is blue and the original one is black. As a collector who's been in since the beginning, I'm really happy this is a little bit different than the other one. And to tell you the truth, This is actually the color it was in Batman the Animated Series. Although it kind of depends how you look at it. Usually it was blue, black sort of mixed together, different shading. It's kind of cool to have both versions. I like it a lot. Now the other difference is the gray here is a little bit lighter than that one. And then inside the cockpit, as I showed you earlier, it's a little bit more detailed in the panels on the original version, and the seatbelt is a little bit different as well. Beyond that, it's 100% the same vehicle, and I'm really happy everyone's getting a chance to get it again. And here it is, next to the chrome version. This Batmobile came in a deluxe set from DC Direct that contained the Batmobile, the Bat Signal, a Batman, and Robin figure. Really cool set. And this one is also done in black, but the main difference is the gray parts here have a chrome sort of metallic finish to them on the hubcaps, on the engine, and the front. Here's a look at all three versions of Batmobile next to each other. The original black version, the new McFarlane blue version, and the chrome deluxe version. And here are all three versions of this Batmobile in the Batcave, utilizing the light-up features. I can't believe they all still work, even after 10 years. Here's the McFarlane larger animated series Batmobile by DC Direct, next to the old school Kenner one, little mini-me. Here's a look at Batman and Robin and Alfred in the Batcave next to the Batmobile. Here's a Batmobile leaving Arkham Asylum. And here it is, chasing the Jokermobile through Gotham City. GCPD SWAT ahead. They have him trapped. Or do they? Now let's check it out, next to some other vehicles, starting off with some other Batman the Animated Series vehicles. Here's the new McFarlane release of the Batman the Animated Series Batmobile on the left, next to the original version on the right. And of course, like I said before, they make three of them. We have the chrome version, the blue version, and the black version. And here it is, next to the older, smaller Kenner version. Then, here it is next to the older Kenner, the new Batman Adventures Batmobile. This is the Batmobile that replaced this other one in Season 4 of the animated series. Now I bet McFarlane is going to re-release the Batwing and the Batcave, and I'm all for that. But what they should be doing is designing the new Batman Adventures Batmobile and putting that thing out. Here's McFarlane's Batmobile, next to the original DC Direct Batman the Animated Series Batwing. This is probably the best Batman vehicle ever released, at least in the scale. It is giant, it looks sleek, has light-up features, two-seater, landing gear, whole 9 yards. Absolutely fantastic. I bet you anything that McFarlane will re-release his Batwing in a similar blue color as their Batmobile. Then, next to McFarlane's Jokermobile. This is also part of the DC Direct Batman the Animated Series line. This is something that was supposed to come out, I don't know, like 6-7 years ago by DC Direct, but it was cancelled. So I was really happy when McFarlane decided to release that thing. Here it is, next to the Batman the Animated Series Batmobile, the original black version on the left, and McFarlane's blue version on the right. And the final vehicle in the DC Direct Batman the Animated Series line is Roxy Rocket's Rocket. Here's a Batmobile on the ground next to my two cats. We have Baby on the left, and Mulder on the right. And now let's continue to compare it with some other Batmobiles. Here's the McFarlane Batman the Animated Series Batmobile, next to McFarlane's White Knight Batmobile. And here it is, next to the recent McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knight Trilogy Tumbler, which is finally a two-seater made by actual McFarlane toys. Here's this Batmobile, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Keaton Batmobile. On the left we have the one from the '89 film, on the right from the Flash movie. And now, next to the Hot Toys 1/10 scale Robert Pattinson The Batman Batmobile. And here it is, next to the Mattel DC Multiverse Justice League Ben Affleck Batmobile. This is not the ultimate radio-controlled one. I think this one is the best-looking one. Well, unless you count the Jazz Inc. version. Then, next to Mattel's 1966 Batman Classic TV Series Batmobile. McFarlane also made one of these, but Mattel's is far superior. And finally, here it is next to Mattel's 2005 comic Batmobile, which was also a two-seater. Now let's put some Batman figures into the Batmobile to see which lines you can use with it. Now it's intended for these DC Direct Batman the Animated Series figures, which are 6-inch scale. Here are the two Batman and Robin from Batman the Animated Series that McFarlane has released. They both have cell shading, which I think is ugly. Batman has a cloth cape, but Robin has a plastic cape. They actually have not released a Robin with a cloth cape for this Batmobile. That's something they really need to do and should have done. So I decided to take my original DC Direct Batman and Robin with cloth capes. No cell shading. Pretty much the same figure. should fit in the car equally as good and be more pleasing to my eyes. You can get Batman with the cloth cape in a bunch of different ways. The 2-pack with the Bat Signal had Batman and Robin cloth capes. The deluxe version with the Bat Signal, Batmobile, Batman and Robin also had cloth capes. And then the Expressions pack had Batman with the cloth cape. Here's the DC Direct, Batman and Robin at the Batmobile. 2-seater. They fit in comfortably, plenty of room, and complete clearance. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of these smaller Batman figures I collect, and work way larger. And here it is, with a couple of SH figure art Batman figures in here. I'm not a fan of putting these cloth wired capes in there. Hard to guide them in with the legs. They fit. Complete clearance. Here are a couple of Mafex Batman figures in here. Getting a little bit tight, but they still fit. And can shut no problem. Here's a couple of Mattel Batman figures in here. Now, when I got this mini-series Batmobile many years ago, I really wanted to put my DC Universe Classics guys in there, but most of them have plastic capes. The driver's seat has less space, so I'd never be able to fit the plastic cape guy in the driver's seat, but I could actually cram him in the passenger seat if I sort of guided the cape in there properly. And even though it's tight, they fit. Here's a couple of Mezco Batman figures in this car. Fits just fine. Here's a couple of NECA Batman figures in here. And although they sort of fit, they stick out way too far. Anything larger than this, still just not going to fit into this Batmobile. It's a 6-inch scale car, not 7-inch scale. And as for the DC Direct and McFarlane Batman figures, they're even a little bit bigger than NECA. The DC Direct ones pretty much all have plastic capes, and the McFarlane ones are even larger, and there's no chance of them fitting in the car. Definitely not closing the canopy. So overall, this is an absolutely fantastic Batman vehicle. It's not very different from the original one made 10 years ago. But tell you the truth, I think the blue paint job looks better than the black one. It strikes me as more screen accurate and screams Batman the Animated Series. The wheels are fantastic. Sturdy rubber wheels. The front ones turn, allowing the car to turn around when you're playing with it. The canopy slides open just like the show. The light-up features are fantastic. It's a 2-seater. It has seat belts. Whole 9 yards. This thing is giant. It's sleek. And even though it's 1/12 scale, 6-inch scale, it's bigger than the majority of the 7-inch scale Batmobiles that I have. This thing just looks awesome. And I'll tell you, I think this is my favorite of the 3. If I were to rate this vehicle, it gets a 9 out of 10. This thing is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. The only thing I would wish is if it could fit 7-inch figures. But the car would have to be even larger than that. With McFarlane making so many different Batmobiles, maybe eventually they'll give us a 7-inch scale animated series. Although, since this one just came out, I think that's going to be very far down the road if it ever happens at all. McFarlane's having a kick, making a ton of Batman vehicles, and they're going to look really cool next to each other. And this one, it looks fine next to the 7-inch scale vehicles. It looks like it belongs. But of course, when you try to put figures into it, it's a little bit different. But this is an awesome vehicle. If you missed out on the last one, this thing is almost every bit as good. And personally, I prefer this one to the original release. I really like this dark blue color scheme. I really like this car. Awesome. Everything's good. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.